Giurlando is a European politics expert. He teaches at Queen's University. He joins us now from Kingston, Ontario. So, Philip, the country passed a new series of austerity measures over the weekend, to much political outrage, of course, on the streets and social unrest. Do you think that's going to have any positive effect as we move forward?
Well, it's only the first stage. The bailout still has to go through many stages for it to be actually implemented. So the German parliament still has to authorize it, for example, so does the Finnish parliament. The creditors still have to agree to the haircut, whether the 50 or 70% haircut. The Greece government has to agree to the fact that the new government that will be elected in probably April will abide by its obligations according to the bailout. So the fact that the Greek parliament authorized the austerity measures in exchange for the bailout is only a first step. It doesn't mean that the bailout will go through.
Speaking of the Greek government, the latest numbers show that the country's GDP contracted by 7%, right, in the fourth quarter of 2011. Are you surprised by that number? That's a big number.
No, absolutely not. Actually, and it's actually a lot worse than that. Since the crisis started 4 years ago, it has contracted something like 16 or 70% in total. But behind these numbers, there is actually a lot of human suffering. I've seen some absolutely frightening statistics. For example, soup kitchens and shelters have seen a 25% increase in use. Suicides have gone up something like 40%. 25% of businesses have closed. There is huge suffering taking place behind these numbers, which does not bode well for the bailout or for Europe and by extension the world.
So how can Greece avoid bankruptcy on the one hand and still please its citizens on the other, who, as you're talking about, have been violently protesting against all these austerity measures?
Well, and this is where the only other viable alternative to this crisis that would get Greece out of this morass and do it in a way that would be a lot less painful than it is now is Eurobonds and a fiscal stimulus from Germany and other surplus countries. The political conditions for those two solutions are utterly absent. They are just simply not present. Therefore, they are impossible. Therefore, we're seeing the austerity measures, which is the other alternative. But even these austerity measures are kind of self-defeating, because the only way Greece will be able to repay its debts is if it starts to grow. And these austerity measures, it's a combination of tax increases and spending cuts, do not promote growth. They promote the exact opposite. Growth takes, after austerity, it generally takes a long time, sometimes up to a decade, for growth to take place. So they're kind of in a situation where there doesn't appear to be any viable solution other than a default. And if that were to take place, it would reverberate across the entire world.
All right, thanks very much for your time. Appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.
You're welcome. Thank you.